All right, team, welcome. Today I'm going to talk to you about kind of a lost art of performing fix to fixes. Using VOR information, VOR, VOR-TAC, TACAN, depending on what you're flying with, basically radial information off a nav aid, as well as DME. Now, I know full well we can punch in a fix in our GPS and it will take us there, but not all aircraft have that. There may be days when perhaps GPS is out, or it's degraded, or something's not right. Or you may be told to go to a fix that's not named, right? That's not in a database. Now, many GPS systems, you can put in the nav aid, the radial off that nav aid, and then the DME on that radial, and it will calculate a latitude and longitude for you to fly to. I know the G1000 will do that. You can create a user-defined waypoint. However, not all systems can do that. But the point is just using old school, basic piloting, navigating techniques to go from one fix to another. And I find that if you can do stuff pretty well using old school / steam gauge techniques, then you are pretty dadgum good at doing things using the fancy toys. Similar to if I can manually fly instruments, approaches, localizers, GPS approaches, all that, PAR, ASR, circling approach, if I can do all that by hand pretty darn good, then come the time that I want to use the autopilot, I'm probably going to be fairly good at that too as well. So that's kind of the gist of this. And it's just a skill set. And, we should always be in the business of learning, increasing our knowledge. Welcome to the club of aviation. And conversely, we should always be in the business of sharing that knowledge. So kind of under that philosophy, that's why I share this with you. So anyway, not a man of words. I know I messed that all up. But anyway, here we go. So, and by the way, I'm not going to wow you with graphics today. I mean, you see a paint window here. I got a JavaScript window underneath. I got PowerPoint. So I'm not going to impress you with fancy graphics, etc. What I'm going to do is do this as expeditiously as possible. So a fix, let's say we're told umpity-ump call sign, proceed direct, the, 045 for 20. And again, I'm not going to water your eyes with my beautiful graphics. But here is our nav aid, VOR, VOR-TAC, TACAN, whatever it is we're flying off of. We're going to draw that 045. If it helps to put little tick marks on your cardinal headings, 09027036018, that's great. But we want to draw the fix. That is where we're going to. 045 for 20. That's where we were told to go. And if you look at our instructions here, and what's cool about video, you can hit pause, you can write this stuff down, you can go back and watch it a dozen times. Step one is write down their instructions. Where they want us to go, fix-wise, and at what altitude. Then you draw it, like I just did. Now we determine our location. So we go to our instruments, and we figure out where the heck we're at. So we rotate our OBS. Let's assume we tuned, identified, and we are currently in continuously monitoring. You Morse code expert, you. The nav aid. Well, let's center up the CDI with a from indication. We could do it with a to and read the reciprocal, but we're going to be perfectionist here. We're going to be retentive. There we go. Center it up. 170. So we are on the 170 radial. We know that we're on the radial because we have a from indication. Obviously, no glide slope. So 170, and here's our DME information, 11.4. Now, in my mind, that's 11, and for the purposes of a fix-to-fix using steam gauges, that will work. You could actually use 10, but we'll use 11. So we are on the 170 for 11. There's a little screen capture. So we're on the 170, so we draw it. So I'm about somewhere here. I'm just going to draw the radial first. Now, if this is 20 DME, I'm drawing a 20 DME arc, then we know halfway in the middle is 10, therefore 11 is probably about right there. and we're on the 170 for 10. Now looking at this drawing, can you give me an approximate heading from the fix we're at to the fix we're going to go to? Well, I mean, there's many ways to do this. We can just say, yeah, it's 020, I don't know. Or we could just use the concept of similar triangles. There's a north arrow, then I could come up here and then just say, well, the angle between these two is roughly 025. Let's just call it 025. So now we know we need to turn in the shortest direction to 025. We're going to discipline ourselves with the heading, as I go the wrong way, 025. Geez. 025, and I can tell as I dial in this bug on 025, my turn direction is to the right. Let's take the sim off pause. And my turn direction, the shortest direction to get to a heading that approximates the perfect heading to proceed to the 045 for 20, is a right turn to 020. So we're going to turn right to 020. Now, ATC understands that this fix-to-fix, specifically right off the get-go, is not going to be perfect. But they do expect you to start turning. So while we're doing all the other steps in our checklist here, we don't get to just continue to drone southwest bound for 10 minutes while we figure this stuff out. They expect us to get a turn going. And that's why I like, for my simple, small brain, I like drawing it up like this, because I can have a rough idea of where I need to be going now to start getting headed towards that fix. So we're going to roll out on about 025-ish. You'll find the word ish is used often when we talk about using steam gauges for fix-to-fix. I'm going to update our position where we're at. So about the 075 for 10-ish. So still roughly around the same place. A pretty good little tight turn there. So now I'm going to let the plane just keep flying while we do the remainder part of our steps. Determine the short direction, probably recalculate location. We did that. So about the 175 for 10-ish. Position the desired fix and your location on your DG. Here is how we do that. We look at our two DMEs. One is the DME we're going to, and the other one, that was a 10. Let's redo that. I told you I wasn't going to water your eyes with graphics. The other one is a 10. So as far as our DG is concerned, we are going to treat our DG as a map, if you will. And the outer ring of our directional gyro is 20 miles, because we pick the largest of the two DMEs, and that DME is going to go on the outer ring. So let's take a quick screenshot of, not that, let's go to our simulator. Let's take a screenshot or a snippet of our current heading / DG, because that mirrors reality in a way. Let's go here. And plop that in. So we want to go to the 045 for 20. So let's put a red dot on 045 for 20. And the center, I'm going to pause this simulator because I don't want, if that isn't the perfect initial heading, the longer we drive on that incorrect heading, the more corrections, or the greater correction, if we do less corrections, we'll have to do. So let's pause that so we can go to this, because I'm going to spend a little time teaching this. The middle of your DG, the center of your DG, is your nav aid. I'm hammering my countertop here. That's your nav aid. Forget the fact that you see a little airplane there. Your nav aid is there. And we have a 045 radial coming off that nav aid at 20 DME fix, right there, 045. And we currently, if I were to center up my CDI again, are on the 17, still the 170-ish. We'll call that 10. And the reason why is that if I call it 9, we're not going to see the difference between 10 and 9 on our DG. So let's call it 10. And there's another reason why we call it 10, because 10 easily goes into 20. Remember, 20 miles is our desired DME. So we are on the 170 for 10. Now I'm going to use this yellow dot to show that. So 170, not for 20 out here on the outer ring, but for 10. And if this is our nav aid, that's the 170 for 0. That'd be the 170 for 10. About right there. I'm going to arrow it up a little. This is PowerPoint, so it always wants to snap to. So we position, so back to our instructions. We position the desired fix in our location on our directional gyro. And we do that like we just did with using the outer ring as the greater of the two DMEs. Now we draw a line between the two, and I've got this handy, convenient yellow line that I'm just going to do this with. I don't, PowerPoint is a pain sometimes. So it's not the perfect line drawn between, but that's all PowerPoint will do me. So now I have PowerPoint will do for me. So now I have a yellow line drawn between the two. So my next set of instructions, draw a line between the two. Adjust the heading to keep this line vertical. I ought to put make and keep that line vertical. So right now this line is kind of slanted off to this line right here. You can see how it's leaning to the right. So we need it to go to the left. In other words, we need the whole DG to rotate left. And how do we do that? How do we get our DG to rotate left? Well, we have to do a slight right turn in that direction. And that'll cause our DG to turn. So let's do that now. Let's go to our heading. I'm sorry, our simulator. Let's take it off pause and let's just do a slight. I'm going to use the heading bug and let's just do a slight turn to 030. And we're going to roll out. Then we repeat this process. Keep adjusting and keep this vertical. There we go. So now let's just keep adjusting. Let's take another fix on where we're at. We are currently on the 160 for 8 or so. So if I come over here to 160, there's 160. 160 for 10 is there. 8 is slightly inside that. Now if I look at my mouse there, and by the way, you do this with your fingers. I use 2 hands if I can. So my right index finger is on the 160 for 8. My left finger is on the 045 for 20, which is the outer ring. And I ask myself, if I draw a straight line between my 2 fingertips, is that line vertical? And if the answer is no, which way do I need to adjust my heading to make that line vertical? Look how many, am I on 2 speed here? No, I'm on 1 speed. So let's take another screenshot. First of all, let's see where we're at. We'll call it 150 for 6. Let's take another little screenshot here. 150 for 6. Help me remember that. Let's jump this in here. 150 for 6. Let's plop this in there. Make it bigger so you can see it. 150 for 6. Let's take the red dot. We're going to put that on the 045 for 20. 150 for 6. Well, that's 10. 6 would be almost half a 10. So about right there. Let's get our vertical line, put it between the two. And again, PowerPoint, man, it's terrible for this kind of stuff. That's a little better. So that line needs to be straight up and down. So how do we get the line to go straight up and down? Well, we turn the compass rose slightly to the left. In other words, that red dot will swing left while the yellow dot hangs out a little bit more stabilized, a little bit more stationary. So to get the compass rose to swing a little bit left, we have to turn our aircraft a little bit right. So let's do that. I just adjusted the heading bug. Now we're going to roll out and see what that gives us. Let's see. Let's repeat the process. Where are we at? We're on the 140 for 6 now. So 140 for 10 is there. 140 for 5 is there. 6 is about there. Is that straight up and down to 045 up there on the 20-mile ring? Yeah, it is. Fairly close. So I'm going to speed it up because your time is valuable and I don't want you to pass out on me. But with that being said, if I speed it up, I don't get as many opportunities to fine-tune my heading, number one. Number two, any changes I need to make that I don't make, or any changes that I make that aren't exactly perfect, their effects will be exacerbated by the fact that I've sped things up. So I am giving you my lawyer's disclaimer that if we are not spot on at the end game fix to fix, that is my excuse because I am speeding things up. So let's see where we're at here. First of all, let's set it up so it records everything so you can see it. Let's take a peek. Yeah, it needs to be this way. While we're hauling the mail here. So basically 110 for 6. So 110. There's 120. 110 for 5 is about, I'm sorry, 10 is there. 5 is there. 6 is about there. Does that form a straight line up to 045? No, it leans a little bit to the left. So with a slightly left leaning, I need to bring the whole thing compass rose to the right, and I do that with a slight turn to the left. You have to watch out when you're turning at 2-speed. So there's our slight turn to the left. I'm going to roll out. Let's center up that heading bug. Wrong direction. Now let's repeat and see where we're at. 090 for 7.5. Going out to 20. 090 for 10, 7.5. That draws a straight line up to 045. Pretty darn close. .080 for 8. 080. There's 080 for 10. 00 for 8. Pretty darn close. I don't like doing these when it's 075. I want to pick an integer heading. So there's 070. Let's see what kind of looks. We're going to end up with about 10. By the way, the Navate has passed our left wing. It is now behind us, right? It's past our 3-9 line. So the DME is going to start counting up pretty quick as the radials that we're cutting across begin to slow down per unit time because we're not 90 degrees out from that. That was 07010. So here's 070 for 10. It's about halfway down. 045 about. Man, that's not too bad. I think we need to rotate it slightly to the right, and to do that, we need a slight left-hand turn. So let's do that. Slight left-hand turn. Roll out. I'm going to go 1-speed because we're starting to get in the short hairs here. We want to fine-tune this last part. So let's bring it around here. Where are we at? We're basically on the 060 for 12. 060, just a little bit more than halfway down. 045, that's not bad. Slight lean to the right. I see our line wouldn't be quite vertical. Slight lean to right. We need to bring the compass rose slightly to the left. That means a slight turn to the right, which is counter to what we did just a second ago, but that's kind of the nature of the business here. I'm going to go to 055 and pause it and talk for a second. 055, 13.2. I'm going to scroll up. You'll miss part of this. I am going to go 2 times for a second. I think, what do I do? Hit pause to pause it? Yeah, we'll do that. So here comes the radials. The DME is at 14. 14.4, 14.5, 14.6, 14.7, 14.8, 14.9, 15, 15.1. You can see the DME is really going up. We're 10 degrees off, so we're 10 degrees off radial-wise. Now I'm going to hit, I'm going to let it get to 16 before I hit pause. And we're still on basically the 0.55. There's 16, hit pause. So we're at the 0.55. Man, it didn't pause. Hold up. There we go. So we're on the 0.55 for 16. It's 16.4. We'll just use 16 now. Let's go to our 0.45. Now this is our target radial. Now how many degrees between each of these, between the center of the donut, edge of the donut, edge of the donut, to that dot, to that dot, to that dot? 2. Because if I swing the CDI all the way to the last dot, I'll read a 10-degree difference up here. So that's 2 degrees, because there's 5 sections, and 5 into 10 goes 2. So there's 2 degrees. So when this CDI, it's between the last dot and the second to the last dot, when it hits that second to the last dot and continues its swing to the right, I'm going to pay attention to how much DME we gain. And I'm going to kind of do this rate process, because I know when that CDI hits this dot right here, we've got 2, 4, 6, 8. We have 8 radials. So if we're doing a mile per radial, then I ought to see 12 over here. If we're doing 2 radials per mile, or 2 miles, whatever ratio you want to use, but we're going to pay attention to when it hits it, and we're going to do 1 times, by the way. What are we on? And we're going to pay attention to the rate at which we are chewing away radials and gaining DME. And that'll give us an opportunity during our last 4 degrees or so to do a heading change to hit that fix as accurately as possible. So here we go. Pause off. It's going to start slowly moving down. When it hits that, we got 2, 4, 6, 8. Center it up. I predict that's going to be 17. That's 3. Can't do the math. Let's call it, if it were 4, that'd be about 0.5. So it looks like we need to chew off some more radials. So we need to turn left to cut across a few more radials faster. Let's take that heading out. So from the center of the donut to the edge, it's 2, 4, 6. We're going to have 18, 2 miles left. 2 miles left. So we want to burn off what? A third of a mile. Am I doing that right? Yep, a third of a mile for every half here. Let's see what we get. There's a half to third. So the ratio is working out. Let's see what happens here. From the center of the donut to the edge, that's going to be 2, 4. 4 radials off at about 19. So that's a half mile. No, a quarter of a mile per dot here. Let's see. No, a half mile per, yeah, half mile per dot. And it's working out. Let's see what happens. Hopefully at the edge of the donut, it should read a 0.5 because we figured out, it's a little. So we need to make a slight heading change to the left because we got a little bit more than a dot's width. Let's do a little bit more. Let's chew up some more of those radials because we're at 19. And it's 20. So let's hold this heading. We're not going to do another heading change. Let's let that CDI center and see where we're at. I consider it centered when the thing is in the donut and I have a gap. Now I see darkness there. Still got a little ways to go, a little ways to go, a little ways to go. Little ways to go, and now CDI is centered. Let's hit pause and see where we're at. So 20.7. Honestly, that is not too bad for doing this simulator, etc., and using round gauges, non-GPS, to do a fix-to-fix. Plus, remember my lawyer's disclaimer earlier, if we're going to go 2 times on this, I'm going to lose half my update opportunities, roughly. So that's my excuse. You can see up here in the corner how we had to make that last-minute change just to nail that fix. And ATC will be all right with that. Really, your criteria, you'd want to be within a half mile of that. So we're 0.2 outside that. Obviously, in the world of the business we're in, we want perfection. So I'm 0.7 off, and I would want to do better. But again, you heard my caveat. The point is we were able to follow our instructions here, figure out, write it down, figure out where, draw it down, figure out where they want us to go, figure our location, draw it, figure what direction of turn and to what heading would be the quickest way to get to this fix, recalculate our location after that turn's done, and then just do what I call the pencil technique, because you do this a lot of times with your pencil. And that's what we did right here. And then of course you saw some of that work right here. You see how that line's leaning a little bit, this line's still leaning, and then we turn our aircraft as required to get the directional gyro to rotate in the direction we want, whether it's that way or back this way, whichever one it may be. And then we do updates. And then lastly, you know that we've got 2 degrees between each of these tick marks here to include the center of the donut to the edge of the donut. And then we begin to look at the rate at which we're either losing or gaining DME versus the rate at which we're cutting through radials. And we give ourselves about 10 degrees left of radials to sort out the final adjustment headings. And that's where we got this right here. That we did a couple turns to the left to fix that. I think we probably could have had maybe some better updates along this range over here when we were going 2x. But that's how it is. So that, folks, is how you do a fix-to-fix using the pencil method. So that's the end of the instructional part. I am going to run through one more demo if you want to watch another demo. So let's just take our current position where we're at, and let's come down to, let's start all over here. And let's just say we want to do, what the heck? Let's just say we want to do, there we go. I'm sorry, that's not what I meant to do. Oh boy. Okay. So again, we're going to draw our navigate here. There we go. Let's go to we know we're up in the northeast. I'm not going to drag it. Let's pick something over here, 272. Let's call it 290. And we went to 20. Let's do something shorter. Let's say 290 for 10. So here's our nav aid. 270, 280, 290 is going to be about right there. And we're going to go to 10. We'll draw 10 right there. And you can tell that's going to kind of be in the way. And if we look at we're not going to cheat and look at the map. We're going to do it right. But if we see on our CDI, we are centered up. We have a firm indication. Therefore, we must be on the 03, 04, 045 for 21. So we are on the 045, 045. It looks like a 6 for 21. So let's draw that. Here's 90. I'm sorry, there's north. There's 90. 045 would be right down the middle. If that's 10, then 10 is going to be about, if I arc this over, 10 is going to be right here. Therefore, 20 has to be double that distance. And it looks like if it's going to be a heading of about, if that's south, I'd call it about what? 235. Let's call it 235. So I go to my simulator. I'm going to bug 235. And as I'm doing so, I can tell that it's going to be a left-hand turn. And I start that turn now. Let's go off pause. And I start that turn to 235. You can see our aircraft's turning. 235. Let's turn a little more. Yeah, it's locked in at standard rate of about 18 degrees. So this is another demo. I won't go 2x, not during this turn, because it'll go flying through it. But we're going to get established in the proper turn direction. So we want to turn in the shortest direction to the proper heading and approximate that proper heading for now. So standing by on the rollout. You turn it by about 10 degrees. There's our rollout, roughly 230. Now we come to our CDI. Down here, we're going to figure out where we're at. All right, we're on the 040 for 20. No, go figure there. So the 040 for 20, and I'm not going to use PowerPoint to simulate that now. We're going to come over here. 20 is the greatest range because 20 is where we're at. We're going to 10. So 20 is the biggest DME we're working with. So that's going to be our outer ring. And we are on the 040. Yeah, right there. For 20. Interesting where that line is. And we're going to the, what did we say we're going to? 290 for 10. Which is right. There's 29 right there. So if you see that, that's, if we're here, down here, and we're going to there, you can see if I draw a line between those two, that line is leaning to the right. That line is leaning to the right. So it needs to be rotated. The compass rows to the left, and I do that with a right-hand turn. So let's do a little bit of a right-hand turn. And roll out and see what this gives us. I am now going to go 2 speed so you don't die. And so we're at double speed, and let's just recheck. 040 at 16. By the way, notice we don't change the scale. Right, we're always on the 20. 040 for 16. Let me take that back. 16 is the greatest distance we're working with between 16 and 10. So now that scale becomes 16. That's the weird thing when you're going from a longer DME to a shorter DME. And we're going to 10, which is still roughly about half. So we're going to the 280. This is 290. This is why I write it down, because I'm a dummy. 290 for 10, roughly there. And we're on the, well, roughly 030 for 14. Outer scale's 10, middle. Yeah, so you can see we're going to have to do a little bit of turn here. 13 on the, what is that, 030, so 13, we're going to 10, so if 13's there, that'd be 10 would be about right here. So we need to do that lean into the right. So let's do a right hand turn. Oh yeah, we're 2 times. Boy, that's gonna really mess it up. Okay. And that's kind of what we got to do. That was probably a little too much of a turn because we're at 2 speed. So let's come back just a little bit. All right, let's see where we're at. I'll put 020. So we're going to be about 020 for 10. Going to the 280 for 10. So really it's straight from one edge of the case to the other. Here to here, 280. Wow, it's leaning a little bit left. So we have to come back to the left just a little bit. See what this does for us. Man, we're right near the station. So 010 for 8. So there's larger range now. This is now a 10-mile scale because that's where we're going to 10. We're going to the 280 for 10. Probably was looking at the wrong place. 280 for 10, and I was on the 010. It's not bad, actually. That's why I like to use the pencil, because I can hold that thing right over here. Something thin you'd want to use for sure. We're at 7. Let's see where we're at. Pretty much 3607, 280 for 10. So if you look at that, that would be about a slight right-leaning line. So we need to bring the compass rose left, which is a slight right-hand turn, and then roll out. See what that gives us. $330 for 6. Going to the 280 for 10. 6. So if that's at the station, I'm just kind of, you can picture it yourself. Still slight right leaning. So let's do a slight right hand turn. And roll out, see what that gives us. So let's go to 1 speed now because we're getting close. Now we're going to see where we're at here. We're still a ways away from using our 10-degree trick. So centered up the CDI with the front indication. We are on the 310 for 7, which is a little over half of 10 because we're going to the 10. Let's confirm that. 290. I was saying 28 earlier. My apologies. That's why I write it down. 290 for 10. And we're on the 7.5 on the 310. Yeah, we really need to come to the right because I was using 280 earlier. That's where that mistake came from. So let's go to the right, roll out. I don't know why you turned that much. I didn't tell you to go that aggressive. There we go. Let's update our heading. Let's see what this works for this. Pencil's too big to use on this tiny little computer screen, so I use a Post-it note to imagine that straight line. 8.2. Let's see where we're at. And again, I said the 290. So here's 290. 2 degrees, 4, 6, 8. So we'll have 8 degrees when it hits that dot. and 1.4 roughly. So that's 8, that's 2, it's about what, 0.7 per? 1, 2, 3. So that's 6. It's not looking bad here. Let's see what we get here. It ought to read 9.5. So we need to cut a few more radials. Let's do a slight turn to the left. Need to cut some radials a little bit faster than we're gaining that DME. 9.8. CDI is about, let's do a little bit more of a left. Let's get rid of these last couple radials. Just a slight check to the left. It's 9.9. CDI, there's 10. Let's let that thing get centered and see what we end up with. And bueno, let me pause it. This one was a little bit better than the last, 10.2. So I'm going to come over here and drag the airplane out of the way, and then we can see our track. I think I can also, let's try this. See if I drag the airplane. I'm going to just drag it here. Ignore all the symbology. We're looking at the magenta. There we go. This will help a little bit. So if you look at our track, this is the previous one, and there's that last big correction that we made, and we were still 0.7 off. Here's our initial turn. Notice it wasn't perfect. In fact, it was almost towards the station. We would have just barely flown right by the station. But that's just an initial turn to get going in the right direction. And then you can see where we did our first update, flew for a little bit, did a couple other updates through here, and then we started using that CDI, the rate at which the CDI is crossing each of these 2-degree marks relative to the rate at which we are either gaining or losing DME as required, figuring out that ratio, and then we can determine where we need to make some last-minute changes. And you can see where slight turn to the right here, which looks like we didn't need as much, and then a slight 10 degree or so check to the left, just to carve off a couple of more radials prior to getting to 10.0 on the DME. But that's a pretty darn good steam gauge fix-to-fix. So there's our last demo. Hope you learned something. Got any questions? You guys know who I am, and we run across each other often. Let me know, and take care.